I survived 400 days in hardcore Minecraft. This time I had 3 more goals I wanted to complete. 1 being get myself a full beacon so I can get haste 2, which I really wanted. And 2, I wanted to make myself a better villager farm. And 3, I wanted to defeat 5 withers. This would be quite a challenge. And also, only a small percentage of people are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you do go to enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe. You know, it really helps me out, and we're on our way to 50,000 subscribers. And with that said, let the 400 days begin. We're back in our world, and the first thing I wanted to do was to go and name my pets. So for Bandit's friend, I went with Agent. You guys really seem to like that one, so I went with that. And for the parrot, I went with Barry. So there we go, our pets are now named. Thank you guys for the suggestions. So now I wanted to go and find myself a mesa biome because I wanted to collect a load of clay. As I was flying, I came across this village, so I went to go and investigate, and there was nothing of real interest. There was just zombies, so I fought them off. Off in the distance I could see a desert temple, so I headed over there and went to go and loot it up. As I entered, there was loads of spiders, so I headed down, and the first thing I made sure to do was to move this pressure plate. And then I just looted up all the chests, which had some okay loot in there. So I headed out of there and I went to go and continue my search for a mesa biome. And I came across this cliffside. I saw from the distance there was a pink sheep, so I went to go and say hi. So it's the next day, and as I was exploring, I found myself a pillager outpost. So this is my time to get some revenge. And I also looted the chest that was on top of the outpost. Nothing really useful. And to finish it off, I wanted to make myself a flint and steel. Yep, so I could set fire to that outpost, which I don't think they was very happy about that. So I continued my search once again, and after a bit of time, I finally found myself a mesa biome. So the first thing I did is I set up my beacon so I could get myself haste and collect all these blocks really quickly. So I collected up this terracotta, and I also wanted to go and collect some red sand. But once I'm here, I might as well collect some. And then I just popped all the red sand into a chest. So I had enough blocks now, so I wanted to go home. So I wanted an easy way of getting back and forth. So I made myself a nether portal and I went through so I could get home really quickly. So I came across this bastion, so I opened up a chest. There was some okay loot, like a golden apple, which was kind of useful. So I needed a way of getting on top of the nether. So I needed a lot of TNT. So I went AFK for a couple of days at my creeper farm. So it was the next day, and I wanted to go and see how much TNT I collected. To my surprise, there was like so many creepers and spiders. So I went down to the storage area to go and collect all the gunpowder, and there was so much gunpowder. So I rushed out and I went to go and collect myself some sand, and I went home to make my TNT. So later that day, I wanted to go back to the enderman farm because my tools are very low durability and I need to repair them. So I went back there, gathered up all the XP, and I headed home. It's now time to go and make myself a way up top of the nether. I've never done this before in hardcore, so this is quite scary. So I had to find a perfect spot, and luckily I did. This is the scary bit. I had to ender pearl through. So I threw my ender pearl, and luckily I was able to get on top of the nether. So I kind of have to glitch the game. So I built one of these like piston machine things so I could actually break the bedrock. This is quite scary because if I ran out of TNT, I am doomed. Okay, first attempt. Okay, let's see if it's broke the bedrock. And yes, okay, it worked. So let's try again and let's see. No, okay. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That was close. That's a good thing I had that token of undying with me. Hopefully this time it'll work. No, again, really? Oh my days, not again. That's my last token of undying as well. Please, fingers crossed. Yes! So there we go, we made our way through the bedrock. So I made myself a ladder so I could get up and down. So now I wanted to go back to the mesa biome, so I flew and made myself a nether portal. So I hopped through and I was not out the mesa biome. But luckily, I was able to find it nearby. So I headed back to the mesa biome to go and collect all my terracotta up and also collecting my beacon because I was not coming back here for a while. And then I went home, I flew back through the nether and got home safe. So it was the next day and I wanted to go and collect some cobblestone. So I went to the mountains and collected up a lot of cobblestone. So we have enough cobblestone now because I want to use this cobblestone to make stone bricks for my new villager farm. made sure to torch up all the area, and also I thought I used some of this terracotta, which looked quite nice and it went well with this build. And I also did some decorating around the home. And all I had to do now was to transfer the villagers back to their new home. And once we're over near the villager farm, I thought why not beat up this path a bit, so I did. So I used some cobblestone and some other blocks to mix it up, also placing some slabs as well, and that was the end of the day. So it's the next day, and I harvested up all my wheat farm because I wanted to trade with the villagers. So I flew to the village and I traded with some of the farmers. And luckily I got myself quite a few emeralds, which was nice. And then I went home to go and check on the villagers to see if any progress was done, and no. So I thought of a good idea. Why not bring some of the villagers from the village to my home? So I made myself another portal and I jumped through to go and check if it was all safe, and it was somewhat safe. There was some lava around, but all I had to do was to go and collect the villagers and bring them to the new home. So I collected up the villagers and I pushed them through the nether. So I got to the other side and somehow there was an iron golem. So I continued to push the villagers through the nether. And then something really bad happened. As I went to go and collect up these rails, I accidentally broke this block, which I fell right into lava. I couldn't believe it. I fell straight into lava. That was really close. If I didn't have that token realm diamond with me, that would have been it for sure. And finally, we got back home. All I had to do now was take the villagers to their new home. And there it is. We have more villagers now. So I just patched up all these holes here so the villagers could not escape. And already looks like the farm is starting to work. This is great. So I needed a way of getting in and out of the farm, so I made myself a little like hatch thing here, and it seemed to work really good. And then also I decorated up the farm a bit more by adding some stairs and some more stone bricks around to make it look a little nicer. And now I wanted to actually trade with some of the villagers, so I actually got myself loads of emeralds, which is really good. And then I thought, why not? Let's turn them into blocks. So I turned them into blocks and I was very happy. Building that villager farm took a lot of resources up, so it was time to go mining. So as I was flying, I came across this cave. So I needed to collect a lot of iron. That was the main resources I needed. And also I was really low on coal, so I collected that as well. And then as I was mining, there it was, diamonds. I could not believe it. So I collected those up, and then I came across this ravine, which had a mine shaft in it, so that was great. As I was exploring the mine shaft, I came across this minecart with a chest in it, so I opened it up, and there it was, a name tag. I've been looking for one of these for ages. And I also found myself another chest as well, which actually had another name tag in it, which was very good. And also I found myself some more diamonds, which was nice. And then as I was going through the mine shaft, I came across this mob spawner. So I torched it up and made sure it was all safe. It had some useful loot. Then I noticed something off to the left. There was another mob spawner. So I looted up the other two chests and found myself some okay loot. So, okay, it's now time to leave the caves. It's been a while. So I flew out the caves and I headed home. So I got home and cooked up all the iron and stuff. And once again, I was running low on coal. So I went out and collected myself a load of coal. Once I'm waiting for all my stuff to smelt up, why not go and trade with the villagers? So that's what I did. So I thought it'd be a good idea to level up this villager so I could actually get myself golden carrots. So that's exactly what I did, as I went to go and use my emeralds to get myself a bunch of golden carrots. So after buying those carrots, what I decided to do was to harvest up my potato farm and get my emeralds back. So I wanted to build myself a few more farms because, you know, you can never have too many farms. So I cleared out a big space and I started work on an automatic melon farm. So I thought I'd use some of this black glass, which went very well with this build. So for the roof, I used some black stone, and then I just did some decorating. And there it is, the melon farm is now done. I just have to wait for the melons to grow now, and they should go into that chest. As I was making a melon farm, I thought the creeper farm looked a bit odd. So what I decided to do was to actually make a glass tube around it. So I went to the desert to go and collect up a lot of sand. So as I was collecting sand, I noticed off in the distance it was a village. There was nothing really there, so I left. Got home and I smelted up all the sand. Once again, wouldn't you know it, I was low on coal. So you know what I did for the next day? I spent the whole day collecting coal. So the next day I collected some bamboo so I could make some scaffoldings. So I had an easier way of getting up and down, which would save me a lot of time. And I went home to go and collect all my glass, and all I had to do now was to place in all the glass. single piece of glass and it would be 1000% complete. And there it is. I mean, it looks a lot better. The creeper farm is done. I also made myself a better path right here. So I just used cobblestone for this and cobblestone slabs. As I was building a path, I thought, why not? Let's build some sort of a storage room. Made it very basic. Just added some stone bricks and some warped wood. I went for a design that I usually don't go for, and it's something different, you know, and it turned out quite well actually. I built myself a little platform here so I could store some of the chests on top, and also gave it some support with these fences. And then I just placed some leaves around. And then I just did some decorating. So I kind of wanted to finish off my beacons for my castle. And there it is, our castle is complete. So as I was leaving my home, I noticed that the horses were kind of crammed together. So what I decided to do was to make myself a horse stable for these two horses right here. I went to go and collect some dark oak wood, and also I cleared out a big space here because this is where I would build the stable. And then I just filled in some dirt and I started work on the stable. I used some logs for the roof, which look very nice. I had plenty of glass left over, so what I decided to do was to place in some glass for the roof. And then I also added some cobblestone walls, and I also made some windows right here so they could see out. So I placed in some lanterns, which looks very nice. And I also made myself a new cobblestone path that led to the stables. So I just did some more decorating around, added some cobblestone. All I had to do now was to actually bring the horses to their new home. That's what I did, and they seemed very happy. So I placed in some hay bales so they had plenty of food. There's 2 more slots left, so what I decided to do was to get myself 2 more new horses. So I went out adventuring to go and find myself a new horse. Luckily, after a bit of time, I finally found a horse that I liked, and I tamed it. I brought it to its new home. All I had to do was to find one more now. So the next morning I went out and went exploring and I found myself one. So I tamed the horse and brought it back to its new home as well. And there we go. Our horse stable is pretty much complete now. And I went to go and check on the melon farm to see how it was doing. So I opened up the chest and to my surprise there was melons. So now my tools are very low after building that stable. So I went back to the Enderman farm to go and collect a lot more XP to repair my tools. And I wanted to get myself some more netherite so I could turn my shovel and my axe into netherite tools. And luckily I was quite lucky and I found myself quite a few pieces. And then I headed home. I was attacked by some piglins for some reason. This spot here looks quite empty. What I decided to do was to actually build myself a new tower right here. So I did. So I used cobblestone for this build, which looks very nice. Added some stone bricks in, placed in the floors with spruce wood, which looks very nice. And just did some more decorating to the top of it. And also added some leaves around as well. And you can't forget about lanterns. They make your builds look so much better. So I placed a few of those in. As I was looking for my chest, I noticed there was a white cat. So what I decided to do was to tame it. So I got some fish, and luckily after a bit of time, I tamed the cat. I was super happy. So I got home and my netherite has been cooked up. So I made myself some netherite ingots and I turned my tools into netherite tools. So later that day, I decided to make myself a bamboo farm because I don't know why, I just wanted to build myself a bamboo farm. So I collected some bamboo and then I went to sleep. I remember why I built a bamboo farm now. I wanted to trade it with some villagers so I could turn the bamboo into sticks so I could get more emeralds. Later that day, I wanted to actually enchant a crossbow now, and it had piercing 3. So I went with that. So I made myself another crossbow. I got myself Unbreaking 3. Anyways, I combined piercing 3 and Unbreaking 3 together as well. And I went to go and test it on the chickens and I missed. Lucky chickens. So I just tested out on Iron Golem instead. So now I wanted to get myself another trident because last time I lost my trident and it was quite sad. So I went to go and get a new one. But I came across this shipwreck. So I went to go and loot it and it had a treasure map. So I opened up the treasure map and I wanted to go and find the treasure. After a bit of exploring, I finally found the treasure. So I opened up the chest and there was some very good loot actually. And then I just continued my search for another trident. I come across this ruins. I swim down and to my surprise, there it is, a drowned zombie with a trident. I killed him and he did not drop a trident. I killed another, he didn't drop a trident either. I couldn't believe it. there was more drowned zombies with tridents, so I took them out, and to my luck, there was no trident. And then I came across this little zombie with a trident, which I never knew existed, but unfortunately, unable to get a trident. So as I was flying home, I came across this mushroom biome. So I went to go and have a look, and to my surprise, I completed my achievement. I was super happy. So I got home, and the first thing I wanted to do was to repair my elytra. So I went back to my Enderman farm to get myself a loads of XP. So now I wanted to work on a bigger project. There was loads of farms I wanted to build, but the farm I wanted to build the most was a ocean temple farm. So I packed up all my things, the stuff I needed, made myself some invisibility potions, and I went to go and find myself a new ocean temple. So after a bit of time, I found myself a ocean temple. So I went down and I took out all the guardians. There it is, I've defeated all the bosses. It is now time to build the farm. So I lit up all the nether portals, I hopped through, placed in the glass, also placed some glass blocks around the nether portal so the guardians could not escape, finished it up by adding some soul sand, and there it is. We have completed our ocean temple farm. The farm is now done. All I had to do now was to go AFK for a couple days. So that's exactly what I did. So finally, after being AFK for a couple of days, I went to go and check on how much materials I have got. I went back to the nether and opened up all the chests, and to my surprise, there was so much loot. I couldn't believe it. So I turned it all into blocks and I headed home. So I got myself a load of fish. So what I decided to do was to trade with some of the villagers. I harvested off all my carrots and wheat farm, but before trading with the villagers, I thought of a good idea. I wanted to get myself a bad omen so I could actually start a raid. So I flew out, so I went to go and find myself a outpost. So after a bit of time I came across this outpost, so I shot the pillager and that gave me bad omen. So I went to a nearby village and I started a raid. And there was absolutely hundreds of them, so I had to be really careful, and I got hit by this beast. But luckily I was okay. I got myself loads of token undyings, which was very nice. All I had to do now was to kill one more. For some reason, he was running away. So I chased after him and then I killed him. There it is. We did it. We defeated a raid and I got myself hero of the village. And then I went back to my villagers to go and trade with them. This was a very good idea. I got myself a load of emeralds. I got myself absolutely loads of emeralds. I was so happy. So I turned them into blocks and I also decided to get myself 2 mending books as well. So I decided to put a mending book on my trident, and also I made myself some new crossbows so I could enchant them. So I got myself a few good enchants and I made myself the ultimate crossbow. So what I decided to do was to go mining again because I wanted to go and collect a lot more iron. So I went mining, collected up a lot more iron, and also found myself some more diamonds, which is very nice and very helpful. I found myself loads of diamonds. As I broke this piece of iron, there were stone bricks. I was kind of confused, and then I broke the stone bricks and there was a stronghold. I could not believe it. So I went around and looted up the stronghold, and then as I entered this room, there it was, the end portal. But we now had enough materials, so it was time to go home. So I dug a way up and I headed home and smelted up all my iron that I collected. So I harvested up all the bamboo so I could trade with the villagers once again. And then I waited for all my stuff to smelt up. Then I collected up all my iron, which I had loads, which was very nice. So now I wanted to build a few more things. I wanted to build a bit of a fountain and also like a castle. So I collected my beacon and I went home to collect all my iron and gold so I can make myself a full beacon and get haste too. So I headed to the mountains and I made myself a full beacon, and then I collected a bunch of stone. So I cleared out a big space and then I started work on the build. So I placed in some spruce wood, placed in some fences for windows, and did some decorating, like adding leaves around. So I placed on a door. There it is. It's pretty much done. And there we go. It is now done. I'm very happy with this build. I think I did a good job. And then I decided to make myself a bit of a pond right here as well. And then I made these cool, like, lamps, which I'm very proud of. And then I just did some decorating, like adding bone meal and then flatten the ground up a bit. And there we go. It is now done. So I already wanted to start working on my next big project. So I wanted to find myself some turtle eggs. So I flew across the seas and I came across this island with a village on it. I've never really seen this in Minecraft. It's pretty cool. But anyways, I continued my search to find turtles, and to my luck, I actually come across some turtles. So I went over there and got myself a few turtle eggs. So I came across this desert, which I found myself a temple, and also collected myself some cacti. I haven't actually told you guys what I'm making. I'm actually making a wither skeleton farm because I need an easier way of getting wither heads. This is the easiest way of getting wither heads, is to build a wither skeleton farm. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a farm. Went to the fortress, and this would be a perfect spot to build a wither skeleton farm. So I started work on the wither skeleton farm. Yeah, it didn't take too long to build. Luckily that piglin was actually very easy to transfer into. Also, I had to place in lava, which is quite sketchy, and I was quite scared to do this, but luckily I was okay. So wither skeletons were not really spawning in here, so I went home to go and collect a bunch of stone to make buttons. So I got myself stacks of stone, and then I placed in a bunch of buttons, which took a very long time actually. But finally, after a bit of time, I did it. It was now time to go and collect some wither skeletons. And it was still very slow, so it turns out that the buttons I placed in didn't really help. So what I decided to do was to actually place in slabs. So those buttons I placed in was an absolute waste of time, so that was not very fun to do, but it had to be done. And after that, the farm seemed to work pretty well, so I spent the next couple of days just AFKing right here to get myself loads of wither heads. And eventually, after a bit of time, I did get myself loads of wither heads. So I flew home, and I want to get myself a bunch more apples, so I can make myself a bunch more golden apples. So I was prepared for the wither fight, placed down the shulker box, and I started placing all the stuff that I needed into this shulker. I made myself some potions, prepared all my items, and I went to sleep. And it's now time to defeat the withers. It is now time. It is now time to defeat 5 withers. So I said goodbye to all my pets. So I said my final goodbyes to all my pets, and I headed out. Here we go. I was now ready. I was now ready to take on the 5 withers. I had everything I needed on me. It's now time. So I placed on the wither heads. So I went to go and place on this wither head, and again I missed, which was really bad. But luckily I was okay. So I placed on the other wither heads, and it was no turning back now. This was it. So I had my golden apples, I got my arrows ready, and I started shooting them. I had to be quick. They could easily take me out in seconds. This was my time to do some damage. So I got my sword, and I tried to do the most damage I could, and I also hit the other one as well. They was not happy, so I had to keep running. In seconds, I was swarmed by all of them. So I threw my ender pearl, which didn't get me far, but I knew I had to keep shooting them with my arrows. This was the only option I had. so much damage to me, so I had to end up our way. Then as I turned around, there it was. All the withers charging at me. I had to run. I had to get away somehow. The withers are well too strong. Then I fell down into this hole, and there was 2 creepers. But luckily there was a gap, and I threw my ender pearl through, and I got away just in time. The good thing is, they lost me. That gave me time to heal back up. So I had to take the wither out one by one. So I went back up the hill, and I went to go and find the withers, and I did. I found it. So I shot with my arrows best I could, and I got it down to half health, and I got my sword. I started doing some damage, and there it was. I defeated my first wither, and luckily the other one was stuck in a cave, so I easily took him out as well. There was only 3 more, so I left the cave and I had to go and find them. I was looking around everywhere. There he was, down there chilling. So I got my arrows and I started shooting them, and in seconds I was swarmed by them. I knew these withers could do serious damage, so I threw my ender pearl, so I was safe. I tried to shoot the withers with my arrows, but I couldn't reach, so I had to ender pearl down and then continue the fight on foot. The withers were chasing me, so I had to run. Then I came across this other wither, so I shot him with my arrows and he started chasing me as well. Now I had all 3 of them chasing me. This was bad. They was doing so much damage. They was way stronger than me. They was well too strong. I had to think of a plan. This was the only option I had. I had to jump. Luckily, with that feather falling 4 boots, I was okay. This gave me enough time to heal back up. So I shot them with my arrows and they started chasing me again. I was losing hearts very quick, so I had to get down to this cave. I couldn't believe it. My armour was about to break. This was very bad. And even worse, the withers are making their way down the cave. I couldn't believe it. I had to keep going down into the cave. I placed down my shulker box to see what I had left, so I could hear the withers coming down the cave. I had to act quick. So I had my golden apples and I rushed the wither. I accidentally set myself on fire, but that was okay. I had a strength potion and I charged the wither. He didn't stand a chance against me. With that strength 2, I did serious damage. And then I charged the other one as well. And there it is. I defeated him. There was only 1 more left, so I had to go and find the other one. As I left the caves, there it was, waiting. So I shot with my arrows and I started running. The wither was doing so much damage to me, I couldn't believe it. Even worse, my helmet broke. This was very bad. The wither was doing so much damage to me, but all I could do was to keep shooting my arrows. The wither got me down to 1 heart, but luckily I was able to eat my golden apples in time. As I was shooting the wither with my arrows, he knocked me off the cliff. I fell straight into a ravine, but luckily there was water, which saved me. So I still had that wither effect, which ended up taking my hearts away, but luckily I was saved by the token of undying. It was now time to end this. So I took my last swing, and there it is. The wither has been defeated. We did it. We defeated 5 withers at once. So the next day, I travelled home. So what I was supposed to do was to place my netherite armour on this armour stand. And there it is, we did it. Wow, we finally did it. 400 days just around the corner. So I gathered all my pets and we wanted to watch the sunset for the last time in my world. Day 400. We finally did it. We survived 400 days in hardcore Minecraft. We've done so much. So what I decided to do was to look at everything that I have built over these 400 days. So I went up to the mountains to get a better view. Wow, what an adventure this has been. Well guys, this is where our journey ends. 400 days in Minecraft Hardcore Survival. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out.